Yarnivores and Spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today I have got a lovely, very simple stitch for you called the Bridge Span Stitch. And this one I think would look so awesome as a wrap. I really do. Not so much of a blanket, maybe even some curtains. Definitely a wrap, a wide scarf. I think this would be absolutely lovely, especially perhaps in a slow color changing variegation of yarn, maybe an ombre. This is really lovely, obviously lacy, and very simple. So without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, so this is one of those stitches where you can make it as wide or as narrow as you want to. If you're making a scarf, I would suggest go wider or go home. So the multiple that you are going to need as far as the chains are concerned, you are going to need a multiple of 8 chains plus an additional 3 chains. So you can make this as however wide as you want. Also, by the way, I am using a size I 5.5 millimeter hook and some worsted weight yarn for my piece. Now, for my purposes, for this example, I decided to chain 4 multiples of 8, so that's 32, plus an additional 3 chains for a total of 35. However, you can make this as many multiples of 8 as you want, and I would say pause the video right now, work up your chains, and then hit play again, and we shall get started in with row 1. Hello again, row 1. All right, so like I said, I did a total of 35 chains, and to start with, we need to do a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So that's right over there. Boop. And then to start our first bridging, we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and skip the next 5 chains, and then double crochet into each of the next 3 chains. So, because we need a base for our bridge, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So into that 6th chain, do a double crochet, and then 2 more following. And we're going to do this all the way across. All right, so we've got the foundation of our first. So again, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip the next 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going into the 6th chain with a double crochet, and then another 2 more. Now I know it is the middle of winter, and this might not necessarily be something to keep you warm. This, I would say, is more of a decorative piece, or of course, if you make it really wide and you're using it as a scarf, that compensates for the fact that it is mostly composed of holes. So you have a lot more fabric, there are checks and balances. So again, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then skip the next 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then double crochet into the 6th, and then 2 more. And just because it's cold out doesn't mean we can't be fashionable, right? Alrighty. There we go. And then we are just about to the end because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got 2 left over, which is actually exactly what we need. So I'm going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to finish up row 1 by double crocheting in the last 2 chains, like so, and like so, because we started row 1 with, technically speaking, 2 double crochets. So that, my dears, is the end of row 1. Alrighty, row 2. Scooting right along. We're going to start by chaining up 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Turn the work. Just get our tail out of the way there. All right, so we're going to go right in to this chain space with 9 double crochets. And we're going to do that all the way across with no chain spaces in between. So we've got 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. And you know me, I always like to double check. Also, don't worry if all of your stitches are bunched up. You can shift them because you're not actually stitching into the chain itself. All right, so then skipping over these 3 double crochets, we're going to go into the next chain 5 space with another 9 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then hopping right over to the next chain space, 9 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I think I got that count right. I always want to go back because I'm paranoid that I miscounted. I've got 4 and I've got 5. Perfect. Okay. All right, then 1 more to go. So 9 into this space. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull out some more yarn. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then to finish off row 2, we're going to skip this double crochet and we're going to do a double crochet into this first double crochet right into the top of it. So not into here, into this 3rd chain from the bottom, like so. So just do a double crochet right into there. And there you go. That's the end of row 2. So you can see we have a cute little bridge already, but we need to stack our bridges, and that's where the next row comes in. Alrighty. Row 3. So for row 3, we need to offset these bridges so that they're staggered. So we're going to start by chaining up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn the work. And to stagger, now we need this base, like we had down here, we need it in the middle over here to create the stagger. So we need to skip this double crochet here and the next 3, 1, 2, 3, going into the 4th, 5th, and 6th, technically speaking. So we're skipping 1, 2, and 3, and then going into here with a double crochet, and then 2 more for a total of 3. There we are. Then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like we did in the base. Then scooting right along on over here, we need to skip 1, 2, 3, going into that 4th one with a double, and then 2 more. So it's right smack dab in the middle, right over, and we're creating another archway. Okay, chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skipping 1 and 2 and 3, going into the 4th with a double. 2 more doubles. Chain 5 again for another arch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Going into the 4th. 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th right there with another double. 2 more to follow. Oops. All right, so then to end row 3, chain 2. Now the reason why is because when we started, a double crochet is technically 3 chains. Then there's 2 more chains for a total of 5. Well, we're doing the exact opposite. We're going to chain 2 and then add a double crochet for a total of 5, if that makes sense. So we're going to do a double crochet into the top 3rd chain at the very, very, very end. It can be a little bit fiddly to get into, but I know you guys can do it. You are persistent, you are patient, and you are perfect in your way. There you go. So that was a chain 2 and a double crochet into the very last. And that is the end of row 3. Okay, row 4, we are going to flesh out the bridges that we just made in the last row. So we're going to start by chaining up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Turn the work. And because this is staggered, we need some double crochets into this space. We need a total of 4 into that space, but because we have 1 at the end, it's actually a total of 5. So we've got 3, 4, and 5. 4 in the space, 1 at the end. All right, then scooting right across over these 3, going to go into the next chain space with 9 doubles. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can see ultimately that this pattern is really quite easy once you get the hang of it, but you do want to be careful as far as your count. You know, I've got 4, and then I've got 5, no problem. And I would suggest at the end of each row that you're doing your bridges that you count, because you do need to be able to get into the center of the bridge on the next row. So just little suggestion. It is one of those great sort of mindful patterns that you can get lost in, but you do need to be careful as far as the stitch count. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Otherwise, you're going to end up singing to yourself, London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. And we don't want that. You know, we want these to be robust bridges, don't we? So we've got 5 and we've got 4. Perfect. You know, every bridge needs to have a good foundation. So then going into the next chain space, another 9 doubles. So I've got 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Just do a quick double check. I've got my 4, I've got my 5, perfect. And then into the last space. Now you can go about this last space in one of 2 ways. Either way is fine. Well, we definitely need to start with our 4 doubles, just like we started with our 4 doubles at the beginning of the row. So I've got 3 and 4. Now, the 2 ways that you can do this, you could either just do 1 more for a total of 5, or what you can do is you can anchor it by doing a double crochet into the 3rd from the bottom, and that would be 1, 2, and 3 right in here, right into that 3rd chain from the bottom, so that it is the height of a double crochet. You see, right there. And then do a double crochet in there, and that way this cluster is anchored. Now, most of the time, I really don't think that it makes any major discernible difference, and you may want to go either way with this. I say, as always, do what works for you. Personally, I think it looks fine either way, but I kind of like it just a little bit better. So what I would suggest is when you're doing your chaining up of 5, to perhaps make your chains just a little bit loose, especially around that 3rd one, so that you can get into it easier later on. Just a little tidbit of advice, okay? So that is the end of row 4, and we shall continue right along. Alrighty, row 5. And so we're going to start by chaining up 3, turning the work, and we're going to do a double crochet not into this very first stitch, but into the next stitch. So that's a little bit more spaced. So we have our 2 double crochets, just like we had them down at the very beginning, right there. Now we need to create more bridges, right? So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to scoot to the 4th double crochet. We're going to skip over here, and we're going to go skipping 1, 2, 3, going into that 4th double with a double, and then 2 more for a total of 3. Chain 5. Okay, then skipping in the next batch, skip the first 3, 1, 2, and 3, going to the 4th. like so, and then 2 more. Now, if you're going for symmetry with your piece, I would say end on a row 5. If, however, you want this really nice edge, I would say end on a row 4. You know, it's a matter of personal preference, but we're going to keep on moving and grooving with this row. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip the first 3 in the next batch, 1, 2, and 3, going into that 4th, and then the next 2. Basically, the repeat for this pattern is rows 2 through 5. However, you can start and leave off wherever you want, really, because it's just gorgeous, you know. So chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then, last but not least, skipping 1, 2, and 3, doing a double crochet into the last 2. So I've got 1 here. And then, last but not least, double crochet into the top of this last double crochet. There we go. And voila. And that is the full pattern. But because you know I love spending time with you guys, we're going to do rows 2 through 5 once again and follow along. You know, let's have some fun. Alrighty, so back again with row number 2 for the repeat. We're going to start by chaining up 3, 1 and 2 and 3. Turn the work. And now we need to fill the bridge. So that's going to be 9 double crochets into the chain space. That's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, of course, if you care to do a bit of tinkering, you could change this number from 9 to another number, and then instead of doing 3 in the middle, you could try doing, say, 1 in the middle, you know, or really what have you. I mean, there are a lot of possibilities out there. So I've got my 4, and I've got my 5, and I'm going to mosey right along. It's fun to experiment with patterns like this because there's a basic construct that you can then tweak. So into the next chain space, another 9 doubles. You know, the only thing that I would say is that for the filling of the bridge that I'm doing now, you would want an odd number so that you can have an evenly spaced number on either side of your doubles to raise up the bridge. So let's see, I've got 4 and 4. I need 1 more. There we go. So I got my 5 and I got my 4. Like for instance, instead of doing 9 doubles, say do maybe 7, and then you could still do 3 in the middle. So then you would have, instead of 3 on each side, you'd have 2 on each side. Or perhaps doing 2 doubles in the middle, and then maybe doing, oh, I don't know, just a different amount, you know. I'm just sort of, you know, playing with ideas and trying to encourage you, you know, try something a little bit different. You can follow me, if you like, or you can branch out and try new things and tweak patterns and come up with something all your own, brand new. All right, so I've got 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got 4, and I've got 5. Perfect. And then into this last space, 9 more. And that is actually how I've created a bunch of my patterns, by taking something pre-existing and manipulating it into a way that I thought was sometimes worked a little bit better, or was perhaps a little bit easier, or just a little bit different. So I've got 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, and then double crochet into that very last double right into the top. Like so. And that is the end of row 2 for the repeat. So for row 3, I'm going to start by chaining up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn the work. And we need to skip the first 3 doubles here, going into the 4th. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 into that 4th one with the double, and then 2 more, for a total of 3 for the foundation of our next row of bridges. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into the next bridge. Skip the first 3, 1, 2, and 3, going into that 4th one with the double. 2 more. There we go. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into the next bridge. Skip the first 3, 1, 2, 3, going into that 4th one, and then 2 more. Chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into the next bridge. Skip the first 3, 1, 2, and 3, going into that 4th, and then 2 more. And then to end, since we started with 5, we need a total of 5 as well, because we had 5 chains at the beginning. So 1 and 2, and then a double crochet into the very last counts as our 3 for a total of 5. And boop. And there you go. That is the end of row 3. Ta-da! All right, row 4. I'm going to start by chaining up 3, 1 and 2 and 3. Turn the work. And into this chain space right here, we need 4 double crochets. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and with our first chaining up of 3, we have a total of 5. Hopping right into the next chain space, 9 doubles. And also I encourage you very, very much to, try tweaking patterns. I recently got a question, what would I suggest to somebody aspiring to create their own patterns? Well, need time, patience, a lot of humility, because mistakes will be made, and I can speak from experience. ripping out stitches, trying again. I'm working on something right now where I've ripped out the same piece a number of times, but it's a lot of fun and it can be very rewarding. And also thinking outside of the box, it helps us grow as stitchers, and I totally encourage that. So we've got 4 and we've got 5. Perfect. Moving right along to the next chain space with 9 doubles. This is another reason why I like to do the repeats, because for little stretches or bridge spans like this, I get a chance to talk to you. All right, so I've got my 5 and I need 4 more. Sometimes it can be scary trying something new, like coming up with a new pattern or trying a new pattern. And sometimes it's good to just have a little encouragement, and I do try to do that for all of you. All right, so scooting right along to the next chain space with 9 doubles. As the Beatles said, I get by with a little help from my friends. So I've got 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8, and 9. Yep. And then, last but not least, we are at the very end, so we need into the space 4 doubles. 3 and 4. And like I said, you can go one of 2 ways. Either do a double into the space or do a double into the 1, 2, 3 third chain from the bottom. Takes a little bit more effort, but I think it's worth it. And that is the end of row 4 for the repeat. Alrighty, last but not least, we've got row 5. I'm going to chain 3, 1 and 2 and 3, and turn the work. Skipping over this very first double crochet, going into the next with a double crochet. So we have our base just like we started with in there. Going to go right into a chaining of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then skipping into this next bridge, skipping the first 3, 1 and 2 and 3, going into that 4th with a double, and then 2 more. For a total of 3, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Going into the next bridge, skipping the first 3, 1, 2, 3, going into that 4th. And then 2 more. There we are. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Going into the next bridge, skipping the first 1, 2, 3, going into that 4th with a double. And then 2 more. And then we're almost at the end, so chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so then double crochets into the last 2 double crochets. We got one right here. And at the very, very end, and boop, and boop, right there. Ta-da! All right, so that is the full repeat for this lovely stitch, and I really hope that you liked this. This is a lot of fun. It's very simple once you get the hang of it, and if you did like it, show your support. Give me a little thumbs up button down below. I appreciate your appreciation as always, and also please do hit subscribe because I do try to post as often as I can, whether it's knitting, crocheting, audiobook narration, or do visit my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, for video game playthrough, commentary, and a lot of laughs. So listen, until next time, I want all of you, my dears, to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.